Welcome back to the Gentleman's Gazette. In today's video, we'll walk you through the 5 essential boots to have in your fall wardrobe. Fall can be a truly wonderful time of the year for menswear enthusiasts. Well, I suppose it depends on your typical fall climate. But as much as the British love to talk about how bad the weather is, fall is typically a very enjoyable season to dress in, neither too hot or too cold. And you get to enjoy the warm golden hues of autumn that enrich the colors and textures of your wardrobe. We've spoken before about our 11 favorite items for a fall wardrobe. So today, it's all about what goes on your feet during this transitional season. First up, we'll let you in on some expert tips for your fall boot collection before diving into our top 5 fall boots. Tip number 1, materials make a difference. Depending on what material you choose, you'll get different qualities of weatherproofing, as well as different formalities. For example, there's a general consensus that you can't wear suede when it's wet.
Snow, that can't be good for suede, can it?
I wouldn't think so.
But if it's treated well and looked after, suede actually performs better in a downpour than a typical calf leather. A water repellent spray can be applied to your suede footwear, or indeed any other suede items you might have, and you're good to go. After all, it's far easier than applying layers upon layers of polish to your calf leather shoes to give them some kind of weather protection. As an alternative to suede, take a look at waxed calf leather. It's pretty much what it says on the box. The waxes used on calf leather provide a greater level of water protection than that of traditional shoe polish, and you get a unique texture with a dull sheen that you can't achieve with suede. The downside of both suede and waxed calf leather is their more casual nature. Great for a dress-down fall day. But what about those times where you still want to look sharp and still maintain a bit of weather protection? This is where Cordovan leather really comes into its own as a great fall boot leather choice. It might not be the cheapest, as we discover in this video, but it's highly priced for its durability and water resistance, while maintaining a high shine fit for dressing things up. Now we've got our boot upper sorted. What about the soles? Leather soles are traditional, and a good leather sole will provide a decent amount of protection. But you shouldn't be wearing them consecutively, especially if they have become wet. You'll destroy your boots quickly, as they won't have time to rest and dry between wears. And as we find out in our bespoke shoe series, what leather cuts easily. If you have a couple of pairs of leather-soled shoes or boots and you're wearing them in a rotation, you're already off to a good start. To get even more life out of your investment, you can apply a leather sole protection treatment. There's a well-renowned sole guard made by Saphir, which is priced around $20 to $30, which is a small amount in comparison to the huge cost of ruining a pair of quality boots. Otherwise, opt for a rubber sole for your fall boots. There are a lot of different styles and brands out there, each with a different use. There's studded day-night soles, slim city soles, half rubber, half leather soles, and chunky cleated Vibram soles. These types are naturally higher in weatherproofing qualities than standard leather, and will also lend you a greater level of traction, useful for strolling through all those soggy fallen leaves. Of course, the more practical the sole, the less formal it will be. This brings us nicely onto fall boot tip number 3. Pick the right boots for the right situation. Hopefully this one makes sense in the general terms. But to make things more specific, Balmoral boots aren't meant for splashing in muddy puddles, and Wellingtons aren't for the boardroom. Of course, the unpredictable nature of transitional weather means that some days things don't go as you'd hoped. But applying these tips to the boots in today's video means you'll be the most fall ready you've ever been. Without further ado, let's look at our first essential fall boot. Simple, easy to wear, and comfortable, the chukka boot is a menswear style staple, but is especially welcome in a fall wardrobe. The term chukka boot describes an ankle-height boot, constructed in a derby style with 2 or 3 eyelets for laces. We'll go into more detail in this video, but for all intents and purposes, under this category, we're going to include the desert boot as a great fall boot option as well. The main difference with a desert boot is this crepe rubber sole, which is characteristic to this particular style of chukka boot configuration. Typically, chukka boots are finished in suede, but you can find them finished in other leathers too. And just like the classic desert boot, chukka boots look just as gent when they're unlined, as well as being very comfortable. You may also find unlined chukka boots to give you a little extra freedom to wear thicker socks on a chilly fall day. In terms of formality, a chukka boot can exist in many different places on the spectrum, based on the last, leather, sole, and color. For example, an unlined light tan suede desert boot with a crepe rubber sole is more casual, whereas a black calfskin chukka boot with a slim city rubber or traditional leather sole will be much higher in formality. Everyone will have different needs for their chukka boots to fill, but if it's timelessness you're looking for, you can't go wrong with a classic chukka boot in a mid-brown suede and a slim rubber or leather sole, whichever is best for the fall weather where you are. Up next is another stalwart of a classically styled wardrobe, being a particularly sleek and stylish item. The Chelsea boot is unique in its ability to cross the realms of casual and formal attire, of course depending on the exact details, just like we've already seen with the Chukka boots. The style is remarkably simple, consisting of a form-fitting last, elasticated gussets on the sides, and pull tabs to help you get them on. You'll find much more about the details of a pair of Chelsea boots in our guide here. But typically speaking, the style is best when it's pared down to simple elegance. Sure, you can find Chelsea boots that sport elements of detailing, but they look their best when you opt for the classic plain-toed variety. What makes them a great boot for fall is how easy they are to wear. Whether it's a full day on your feet or just a quick visit to the grocery store, a pair of Chelsea boots is quick and easy to slip on, and they'll pair with many elements of a classic wardrobe. For further weatherproofing concerns, you can consider Chelsea rain boots, and a cross between a Chelsea boot and a classic Wellington boot. The Chelsea rain boot combines practicality with elements of classic style, whereas a tall Wellington boot puts you squarely in the realms of country attire. The ankle-height Chelsea rain boot is a perfect option for a fall wardrobe. Just like with Chukka boots previously, the choice of materials plays a big part in how dressed up or relaxed your Chelsea boots look. Once again, black calfskin is the way to go if you want to pair your Chelsea boots with business wear. Flat brown tones will allow you greater versatility. As we've already suggested, a mid-brown suede Chukka boot for your fall footwear collection. Go for a pair of Chelsea boots and a darker waxy calfskin. Not only will they provide a greater level of weather protection, they'll also provide greater variety of choice when it comes to fall appropriate footwear. There's going to be a time where you want to be formal in fall, or should that be fall mall? Anyway, the Balmoral boot is the absolute must-have boot if you're a classic style enthusiast. With its origins in the 19th century, the Balmoral boot was actually the everyday footwear choice for men, with everything from work to weddings happening in a pair of Balmorals. Previously men in the Regency period, such as Beau Brummel, would have worn tall boots every day, similar to a pair of riding boots. The Balmoral boot was the next evolution, as men started to wear their boots under instead of over their trouser legs. And we strongly recommend you don't try wearing tall leather boots under your trousers. It may work for Superman, but well, he's Superman. The ability to wear a boot under your trousers is an essential for fall, as there's bound to be days where you want to look smart, but still maintain a practical edge. After all, on a cold autumn day, having an ankle-height boot under your trousers keeps you nice and warm. Balmorals can certainly elevate casual clothing, but they look their best when paired with sharper attire. Of course, this does mean a trade-off in terms of practicality, as the Balmoral boot is typically constructed from an elegant, polished calfskin, as well as any potential contrasting leathers for the upper portion of the boot, although it's possible for the whole boot to be made of the same leather. This also means that Balmorals are rarely seen with rugged or chunky soles, as the elegance of a shoe-like upper benefits from a coherent design that follows through to a slim and stylish sole. This means that you're more likely to find Balmoral boots with leather or slim rubber soles. With all that in mind, your Balmoral boots should be the opportunity to smarten things up in your fall footwear. So go for classic dark colors and a smart calfskin. Blacks, grays, reds, and browns are all great choices here. If you love the look of a Balmoral but want something for those in-between days, go for a derby boot. Granted, this term might seem similar to that of a Chukka boot. This style is also somewhat broadly defined. So let's break it down to what sort of thing you should be looking for. At or just above ankle height. Derby construction. Robust lacing system. Now, it can certainly be very easy to find yourself in the realms of combat or commando boots when looking for a derby boot. And it's because of that open lacing. It offers you the greatest range of adjustment, which is perfect for a boot worn in transitional seasons. If it suddenly turns into a warm fall day, you can open your laces and let your feet breathe. Or if it's a cold one, the derby boot will be more forgiving for a pair of warmer socks worn underneath. To set your derby boots apart from the modern military styles, go for a full or pebble-grained leather. The texture helps the leather develop a unique patina over wear, and choosing a leather in a rich, deep brown will make the boots surprisingly versatile. Derby boots are also a great opportunity to experiment with additional details, such as a cap toe, a wingtip, or broguing. A great example of an alternative to a rich brown pebble-grained leather would be these wingtip derby boots with broguing in the classic rosy brown cordovan tones. Finally, we come to a more unique style of boot, but certainly no less stylish. The Jodhpur boot is similar to a Chelsea boot, boasting a simple and elegant design, but instead of an elastic gusset to hold your foot in, you'll find a buckle and strap. As its name suggests, the Jodhpur boot has equestrian roots, with this and the Chelsea boot both originally being used for horse riding pursuits, before moving into the mainstream fashions in the 1920s. A taller variation of the Jodhpur boot rose to prominence in the 1950s, known as the engineer boot. The style was worn by cinematic bad boys like Marlon Brando and James Dean, creating particular intrigue for leather boots sporting straps and buckles. While the engineer boot is still available today, the shorter Jodhpur boot has still retained a lot of its sartorial elegance, being uniquely appreciated by those with a flair for the extraordinary. After all, Jodhpur boots aren't super common nowadays, but that makes them all the more special as an addition to your fall wardrobe. Naturally, Jodhpur boots will always work well with traditional country clothing, but as we've discussed before, a transitional season like the autumn months provides a great opportunity to indulge in leather jackets. So whether it's the Trial Master from Belstaff or the iconic Perfecto from Schott, a pair of Jodhpur boots makes a wonderful addition to these outfits. The reason a Jodhpur works so well here is it echoes the classic pairing of two utilitarian garments. But the boots aren't as rugged as the engineer boots, which possess a chunkier sole and boxier toe. Indeed, the refined round toe and slim sole of the Jodhpur boot is what elevates the Jodhpur boot into the realms of elegance. When it comes to choosing leather for your Jodhpur boot, classic calfskin is king here. You can certainly find them in a range of different materials, but a sleek pair of well-polished Jodhpur boots will set you right for many fall days to come. Whatever stage you're at in your fall boot collection, we hope you enjoyed our suggestions for these essential styles. Are any of these boots new to you? Or are you a fall boot fanatic? We'd love to hear from you in the comments. So today I'm wearing a camouflage casual long sleeve shirt with a pair of dark denim, shadow stripe Fort Belvedere socks in brown with light blue stripes, and a pair of brown suede chukka boots. Check out the Fort Belvedere shop here for socks like these.